What if the biggest pressure on your finances is not only what you can see, but what has been quietly working against you behind the scenes? What if the real battle is not just bills, numbers and bad timing, but fear, doubt, and everything that has tried to train your mouth to speak defeat before your breakthrough shows up? Stay with me, because this next part can change the way you face money, lack and pressure from this day forward. Tonight is not about begging, it is not about panic, it is not about staring at empty places and calling them permanent. It is about rising up, speaking with faith, and refusing to let lack talk louder than the promise of provision. Too many people have accepted struggle as normal. Too many have made peace with barely enough. Too many have whispered, maybe this is just how it will always be. But something shifts when you decide that fear will no longer lead your thinking, your words or your future. There is a law at work here, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. When your mouth agrees with truth, when your heart locks onto promise, when your spirit refuses to bow to panic, things begin to move, doors open, help comes, strength rises, and what looked delayed starts coming into motion. Don't click away now, because what comes next is where many people miss the breakthrough they have been praying for. Make the decision now. No more tolerating lack. No more calling delay your destiny. No more letting fear sit in your house like it belongs there. Stand up inside yourself and say, enough. I will not let darkness rule my finances. I will not let fear write my future. I will not let the enemy keep what does not belong to him. This is where many get stuck. They pray, but they never take a stand. They ask, but they never resist. They hope, but they never speak with authority. And silence can become agreement if you are not careful. So open your mouth. Speak directly against every force that has tried to keep you trapped in shortage, debt, confusion, and delay. Say, take your hands off my finances. Take your hands off my peace. Take your hands off what God has prepared for me. These are not empty words when they are backed by faith. These are not emotional lines thrown into the air. This is spiritual resistance. This is refusing to accept theft as normal life. This is where weakness breaks and authority starts to rise. And as you keep speaking with boldness, not just once but again and again, something changes inside you first. Fear begins to lose its grip. Confusion begins to fade. Your heart stops bowing to what it sees and starts standing on what it believes. That is the turning point. That is where pressure starts losing power. Keep listening, because the next piece connects everything. There is another part of this truth that many people never learn, and because they never learn it, they live far below the help already available to them. Heaven is not passive about your life. Help is not far away. There are ministering spirits assigned to serve the purposes of God for those who belong to Him, and they do not move because of panic, complaining, or desperate words filled with fear. They respond to the voice of God's word. Think about that for a moment. Not the sound of worry, not the language of defeat, not the constant replay of everything that went wrong. They respond when truth comes out of your mouth with faith. So when you say, my needs are supplied, the Lord is my source, what belongs to me will come to me in the right time and in the right way. You are not just calming yourself down, you are releasing the sound of agreement with heaven. And when you say, ministering spirits, go and bring in what has been held back, you are speaking in a way this message has stressed again and again. Faith-filled words set unseen things into motion. That does not mean magic, it means alignment. It means heaven responds to faith, while fear keeps many people frozen. Let that sink in. The help is not missing, the voice has been missing. And once your mouth begins to line up with promise, what stood still can begin to move. Many people picture angels as distant, silent, decorative, almost like part of the background of heaven. But that is not the picture being painted here. The picture is movement, action, strength, assignment, help. They are not ornaments, they are ministers. They are not far away doing nothing. They are ready to move in line with the word being spoken in faith. And this is where the script takes on new force, because it is not only saying, believe for provision, it is saying, give heaven something to work with. Every time you declare supply instead of shortage, you are changing the atmosphere around your own life. Every time you speak against fear, you are refusing to feed the very thing that has been choking your expectation. Every time you thank God before you see the answer, you are acting like faith is real, not theoretical. Listen carefully, because this is where many stop too early. They say the words once, then go right back to talking defeat all day long. They plant faith in the morning and dig it up with doubt by night. But steady words matter, repeated truth matters, gratitude matters. If you keep your confession strong, if you keep your mouth clean from panic, if you keep thanking God while nothing seems to be moving, you are not wasting your breath. You are holding the line until the unseen becomes visible. And yes, this is where the breakthrough often begins. Now let's come even closer to the center of this message. Your mouth matters more than many people think. Life and death are carried by words. Direction is set by words. Your inner world follows words. Your expectation is shaped by words. That means what you keep saying is not small. It is steering you. If your mouth is full of defeat, your life starts leaning toward defeat. If your mouth is full of fear, your mind starts building rooms for fear to live in. If your mouth is full of lack, you train your spirit to expect lack. But when your mouth is filled with truth, when you keep saying there is supply for me, there is help for me, there is a way forward for me, I believe I receive what I have prayed for, you begin to point your whole life in a different direction. The world was spoken into form, creation responded to words, and in this message your confession becomes the switch that activates the law of faith in daily life, not wild fantasy, not denial, faith, the kind that says, I do not have to wait until I see it to agree with it. This is where retention kicks in, so stay with me. Because the real test does not come when you first speak. The real test comes when nothing changes quickly, and you are tempted to say the exact opposite of what you prayed. That is the battle. That is the moment. That is where many win or lose the harvest with their own mouth. A lot of people say they will believe when they see, but that is backward in this script. The order is clear. Believe first, speak first, thank first, then watch what follows. If you wait for visible proof before you believe, you will stay trapped in the natural. Faith moves ahead of sight. It says, I receive before I hold it. I thank before I touch it. I agree before the evidence arrives. That is why the message keeps returning to the same pattern: heart and mouth, belief and confession, prayer and thanksgiving. Think of a farmer. Seed goes into the ground first. Harvest does not appear the next morning, but that does not mean nothing is happening. The seed is still working in silence, and every confession of faith is like that seed. Every moment of thanksgiving is like water on the ground. Every refusal to speak doubt is like protecting the field. But when you dig up the seed with constant fear, you slow down what you say you want. So guard your mouth, guard it when you wake up, guard it when the pressure rises, guard it when another bad report shows up, guard it when the account still looks small. You do not need loud performance. You need steady agreement. Say, my needs are met, my future is not empty, my source is not limited. What has been prepared for me is coming in the right season. Keep that language alive. Keep that fire burning, because this next part is crucial. Faith that starts must also stay. This message also presses hard on one command many people avoid. Resist, not later, not when you feel strong. Now, resist the enemy. Resist lack. Resist the voice that says nothing will change. Resist the pressure that tells you to sit down, accept less, and call it wisdom. If you do not resist, you can slowly start cooperating with what is stealing from you. But when you rise up and say no, you will not keep touching my finances. You will not keep draining my peace. You will not keep blocking what belongs to me. Something important happens. You stop acting like a victim and start standing in authority. Authority is not loud emotion. Authority is not rage. Authority is a settled position. It is knowing you do not have to beg darkness to leave. You command it to go. Think of a person directing traffic. They do not physically stop every car with muscle. They use authority, and the law behind that authority makes movement happen. In the same way, this message says that when you use the authority already given to you, the enemy has to back off. Not because of your feelings, not because of your personality, because truth stands behind your command. So speak clearly, speak firmly, speak without apology, and don't let your own fear talk you out of your own authority. This is not the time to shrink. This is the time to stand up inside your spirit and refuse to surrender one more inch. But standing once is not enough. This is where the hidden law keeps working day by day. Hold fast, hold your confession, hold your ground, hold the line when the answer seems slow. Many people start strong for one day, maybe 1 week, then they wobble. They pray on one day and panic the next. They speak faith in the morning and repeat fear by evening, and that wavering cuts against what they say they want. The message is clear here. Do not let go too soon. Keep saying what God says until it becomes louder inside you than what circumstances are saying outside you. Keep thanking Him even when the result has not shown up yet. Keep speaking supply while lack is still knocking at the door. Keep speaking peace while pressure tries to fill the room. This is not pretending. This is endurance. This is patience working with faith. The farmer does not plant seed and then tear up the field the next day because he cannot see green yet. He knows time is part of the process. In the same way, if you have prayed, believed, spoken and thanked, then stay steady. Stop checking every 5 minutes to see if the harvest has appeared. Stop letting one bad day rewrite the whole promise. Stop letting delay talk you out of your expectation. You do not need to force the harvest. You need to refuse to faint before it shows up. Keep watching, because the next part brings giving, harvest and overflow together. The message does not stop at confession. It also talks about seed, about sowing, about giving in faith, instead of living in closed-fist fear. As long as the earth remains, seed and harvest continue. That law still works. So when you sow, whether it is with money, generosity, obedience, time or support given in faith, you are not throwing something away. You are planting into a law that was built to produce. But once again the warning is strong. Do not sow and then poison the field with unbelief. Do not give and then spend the next month saying, that is gone, nothing is coming back, I will never recover. That kind of speech fights the harvest you claim to expect. Instead, sow with expectation, give with joy, speak over the seed. Thank God that what leaves your hand is not leaving your life forever. It is entering a process. It is moving into ground where increase can come. And while you wait, keep your mouth aligned. Say, my seed is producing, my harvest is growing, my supply is on the way. What was planted in faith will return in the right time. This section also opens the door to something larger than personal comfort. Provision is not only about surviving. It is about having enough to bless, enough to help, enough to support good work, enough to live free from constant fear. That is why this part matters. The law is not only about getting out. It is about becoming someone through whom provision can flow. To drive this deeper, the script keeps using real lifestyle examples, because examples help people see the law in motion. A minister with not enough for the next stop. A business owner with delayed payments and blocked contracts. A young couple afraid they cannot afford to give. A family staring at bills and wondering how long they can hold on. In each case the pressure feels real, the need feels immediate, and the natural facts are not ignored. But the turning point comes when speech changes, when the words shift, when fear stops narrating the future. One person begins saying every morning, God is my source, I believe I receive what I need, every barrier is breaking, the right help is coming, ministering spirits, go and bring in what has been assigned to me. Another stops calling the business cursed, and starts speaking favor, open doors, released payments, new contracts, and divine help. Another starts giving with faith instead of guilt, thanking God that the harvest will follow the seed. And the testimony style of this message says things begin to move, not always in a dramatic second, but in motion. Payments clear, opportunities open, unexpected help arrives, peace comes first, then provision follows. That is important. Sometimes the first miracle is that panic leaves. Sometimes the first breakthrough is that you can sleep again. Sometimes the first sign is that your words stop shaking. Keep that in mind, because breakthrough is often already happening before the full answer is visible. Now the message widens. The goal is not just enough to survive another month. The goal is abundance with purpose. Enough to live, enough to breathe, enough to give, enough to help others, enough to support good work, enough to become a blessing, instead of always feeling one emergency away from collapse. This is the bigger vision. God's plan is not tiny, cramped, fearful living where every day is ruled by shortage. The language here is all sufficiency, all things, every good work, a cup running over, more than enough, grace abounding, not for greed, not for pride, for purpose, for generosity, for usefulness, for freedom, from the fear that has kept many people spiritually exhausted. And this changes the way you pray. Instead of only saying, just get me through, you begin to say, make me a channel. Let there be more than enough in my life so I can bless, build, give and serve. That is a stronger vision. That is a wider prayer. And when your expectation widens, your confession widens too. You stop speaking only from survival. You begin to speak from assignment. I always have enough for what I am called to do. I am not running dry. My cup runs over. There is supply for the mission, supply for the home, supply for the future, and supply for the good works prepared for me. Stay with this, because small thinking has robbed many people longer than they realize. Do not limit God with tiny expectations wrapped in false humility. Do not say, I only need a little, when the deeper purpose is to bless more, help more, and live with open hands. This message pushes against survival thinking, because survival thinking often sounds humble, while secretly being shaped by fear. Fear says, don't ask for much, don't expect much, don't believe for overflow. But faith says, if God provides with purpose, then I can trust Him for more than barely enough. That does not mean careless living. It means bold trust joined to wisdom, obedience and gratitude. It means you stop speaking like shortage is your permanent name. It means you start seeing provision as part of your assignment, not just your comfort. And this is where the script can take on even more strength in simple English. Stop thinking like every closed door is the final word. Stop thinking one delay means denial. Stop thinking one hard season defines the next 10 years. Lift your expectation, stretch your prayer, clean up your confession, say bigger words, not foolish words, faith words. Words like, there is room for increase in my life. There is room for overflow with purpose. There is room for open doors I have not yet seen. There is room for restoration, repayment, and unexpected provision. The table is not empty. The future is not closed. The story is not over. And if you are still here, this is the exact point where you need to lean in, because the final stretch brings everything together. So here is the full picture in one flow. Your words activate the law. Your authority resists what is trying to steal. Ministering spirits move in line with the word spoken in faith. Your seed enters a harvest process. Your patience keeps you from tearing up what you planted. Your thanksgiving waters what your mouth has declared. And your expectation makes room for abundance instead of barely enough. This is why the message keeps circling back to the same declarations. Not because repetition is empty, but because repetition builds agreement. It trains the heart. It silences fear. It gives your day a new sound. So say it plainly. God is my source. My needs are met. I believe I receive. I will not speak lack. I will not bow to fear. I resist every force working against my supply. Ministering spirits, go and bring in what belongs to me. My seed is producing. My harvest is coming. My cup runs over. I am blessed to be a blessing. Say it when you wake. Say it in the car. Say it before sleep. Say it when the pressure spikes. Say it while thanking God that the answer is already moving. That is how this message wants to live in everyday life. Not as one emotional moment, but as a daily pattern of believing, speaking, resisting, thanking, and expecting until what was invisible becomes visible in your hands. And now let this close with strength. If you have been tired, if you have been squeezed, if you have felt like the fight around your finances has lasted too long, do not leave this moment the same way you entered it. Let your spirit rise. Let your words change. Let your expectation come alive again. Say, I will not faint. I will not back off. I will not surrender my mouth to fear. I will not let lack preach to me any longer. I receive supply. I receive wisdom. I receive open doors. I receive strength to stand and patience to keep standing. What has been delayed will not stay delayed forever. What has been blocked will not stay blocked forever. What has been stolen will be restored in the right measure and in the right season. My future is not empty. My house is not forgotten. My prayer is not unheard. My harvest is not lost. Hold that confession. Keep that fire. Stay steady. And if this message stirred something in you, do not let it fade after a few minutes. Carry it with you. Speak it until it lives in you. Thank God before you see it. Resist fear the second it shows up. Expect movement. Expect help. Expect provision with purpose. And when the answer begins to appear, remember this moment, not as hype, not as noise, but as the day your mouth, your faith, and your expectation lined up, and the hidden law started working in your favor.